vibes.
Indeed, they are. SKADE, they do have the opportunity to take this one into maps if they win it out here on Mirage first. Their win rate really isn't too bad here. They're a strong team on Mirage, and with Train in their back pocket, they could end this series nice and early with an opening victory here. The pistol round is going to see all of the Gambit youngsters angle towards this A bomb site and start to charge in immediately. Duplicate looking for headshots, but neither him or Dennis Law able to find them in the early instance. They have to back off and let the youngsters in. Two kills traded either way then, as now it's just two players left alive for either side. SKADE have utility available on the retake, but Oxygen has now been removed from the round. That leaves Spellin alone at long range at least with this USP, but Inters is keeping things messy. He hasn't yet had the opportunity to plant, and that doesn't matter though. He'll find the follow-up headshot and claim the victory in the pistol.
Yeah, there was good trades coming up from Gambit Youngsters' point of view, and it's lucky, really, that Inter's got that last kill in the end. Inside with an early advantage here on Mirage, and for SKADE, they want to force. As well as got the scouts, a load of pistols are actually going to be following up with a bit of utility on Rainwalker and Oxygen, so they're going to commit at least something and look to hope to maybe take out some of these Galils, which Gambit Youngsters will have. Balan in mid. Will just get smoked off, but doesn't quite get the timing either. Shiro for now will hold under as SKADE put a bit of a passive approach over towards aim.
Indeed, they do. They want to try and group up and play together. So far, that's worked out well. Nafany falls down in the early instance to a Deagle headshot, but now the damage of the rifles is being done. There's two players sat in this smoke under balcony, and they could fall down should Gambit Youngsters have the cognizance to peek. Now that first kill's been found, they might not suspect the second player, but Oxygen could still be peeked here on the way in. Gambit, they really don't want to be taking the risks, but they haven't spotted him. Oxygen, they look at him at the last moment and he whiffs the Deagle spray. It goes wrong in the round, and Gambit Youngsters, they look to be recovering. Rainwaker can't get anything, and Spellin left alone.
Yeah, SKADE's force buy really hasn't given them too much to party about. A bomb plant for additional money right at the end means SKADE really can't go forcing into anything else in these opening stages. For Eco expected, so for Gambit, that should be them hopefully up to 3-0, unless they make some mistakes against this pistol buy. AKs and Galils. And for the Russian heavy squad, you'd expect a default going forward here, 2 towards mid, 2 in Palace. And holding top mid, Axel will remain. And SKADE now just look for the damage.
Holding true with the pistols as the 4 Galils from the T side try to encroach across the map. You can see SKADE, they want to use the range at mid to their advantage to really dish out the damage from the safety of those strafe angles, but they're not able to find any kills just yet, despite how low Shiro's HP is. Instead, they go for the aggression. Oxygen will convert into 1. Shiro's still on 7, but Supra is calming things down with that kill. Instead, it goes wrong the other way. Both players fall, and Duplicate, if he can land one more headshot, the round could all be over here.
Yeah, the bomb's been dropped in such an awkward position that Axel just had to use the Molotov to really spread and ensure that Duplicate couldn't do much more. So Dennis Law and Speller now a bit more work to do if they want to find the victory. Axel is tagged up, so it's far from ideal for Gambit Youngsters also. Utility minimum. Galil just chucked out of the map from Axel's point of view, but they've got an AK at least. They've still got a chance to maybe look towards B, but 35 seconds. Now have to commit.
They do indeed. They have to push this B bomb site, and if Dennis Law can just get 1, maybe there's a chance. But Spellan doesn't have the Deagle to hand, so his firepower locked on the A site alone will be called into question. It'll be even more difficult for him to attempt to retake. So Dennis Law, really, the work all lies on his shoulders. He'll hear them push in. He knows they're going to come for bench, but he's found the opening headshot. He's still alive. Inters wants to find him, but his teammates currently still rotating the way in. Spellan hunting around, looking for these, but it doesn't matter. Dennis Law did the work with the time, denied the plant for long enough, and SKADE steal the round away.
I completely forgot about time. I didn't realize it was that low. Gambit youngsters more or less had the opportunity to convert it, but they can't do enough. They can't do the easier task of just pressing E and getting the bomb down. So SKADE unexpectedly win an eco, and with it a full M4 purchase. Spellen, he is only stuck on a pistol meanwhile. Gambit youngsters' money is just enough for an AK buyout. And it's going to be that sort of round where whoever loses economically, they're going to be hit rough.
Absolutely the case, as the youngsters, they send Supra out mid early. He's not alone, but he is in danger as Spellen's AWP rings true across the map. Can't connect the shot though, and that is going to give space to the youngsters. They creep forward, they take connector control, and when they pick the bomb up towards ramp, they change their targets towards this A bomb site and begin looking for their execute.
Well, they've at least got themselves set up to maybe approach towards A. Spellen with one. The AWPer now looks to double up, but it's trade kills. It's Gambit now on top. Shiro's double has more or less secured this A site in their favor. And Rainwalker and Oxygen now have a bit of work to do. And look who's up close. Shiro, or sorry, Supra, in fact. He'll just heal the info. So the AWP can now take advantage. Rainwalker, he is deleted. Oxygen with an M4. Doesn't even have a kit. So this retake probably out of the question. And for SKADE, economically, they're going to be hit first.
They are indeed. They aren't able to convert after the second. They stole the eco away, but weren't able to do anything with the follow-up. Gambit youngsters, they deal the damage, and they look to continue the hunt here. If they can remove Oxygen, they know that means there are no rifles available for this CT side to work with. And that is not going to be the case, unfortunately. They will save at least the one forward, but with the lack of money, it just has to be pistols to support it.
Yeah, it's not going to be an ideal buy from SKADE's point of view in this pause. Well, it just gives them an opportunity just to try and work out what to do in the follow-up gun rounds. Even if they force the Eagles here, it's not ideal, but it might be something which can be considered around this M4. Gambit youngsters, though, they will be up against that force buy. In fact, that pause, I didn't know if they were going to do it. I didn't know if that was the right call, but that's what they are risking. And it's a big one with it, because if they lose us, Gambit youngsters can more or less find their way towards 5 rounds potentially. And early on, not an ideal start should SKADE lose us.
Definitely not. They want to contest the early instance, though. They want to stop the youngsters from gaining any semblance of a T-side economy. It's definitely a risky decision, considering how poorly the last round went on that full buy, but they have been able to get a lot of work done with these pistols in the past, and you're thinking if they can just follow that up, then the gamble is justified, but there's still a lot of work to do in this round. You can see they have 4 players trying to hold that crossfire in mid. Duplicates MP9, waiting for the close range push. Nafany on just 10 HP, eventually found, but the AK of Axel's done all the work. Rainwaker will eventually take him down, but he's the last one left alive now. 3 Gambit youngsters players left alive. All he can do is pick up an AK and retreat to use it in the next round.
And this was my concern, really. SKADE, they didn't need to force us out. They've got a couple of kills off of it, but you wonder if really the investment was entirely worth it. Gambit youngsters, they've got 3 players still alive, the AWP still included, so they won't have to invest too much going into the follow-up rounds. SKADE, well, Rainwalker specifically, he got the 2 kills, he got the AK. That was his gift, and that was his reward. 4-1 though.
He'll be looking to take this rifle into the next round. He hasn't been actively hunted by the T's whatsoever, so it will be permitted, but because SKADE forced into that last round, they can't really justify buying around him. If they did so, they'd be stretching their economy very thinly and virtually giving Gambit youngsters another round. Oxygen's going to pick up a little bit of body armor to support his deagle, but I can't see a world where SKADE can justify purchasing much more than that. They don't indeed. They stick to the pistols, supporting the 1 rifle. It's the right call. It's going to give Gambit youngsters a bit more of a lead, but you have to get that money back under control at some point, or this CT half goes straight down the toilet.
SKADE again, more or less looking for the kills. They've again gone for this approach where they just focus and stack lots of players in the middle. Again, Gambit youngsters look to just try and take advantage, or just look to see how the CTs are approaching this. For now, Axel's been clearing under. Nafani obviously holding from chair. SKADE, they just want one mistake that could gift them or help trigger a couple of kills and then connect to Oxygen. In fact, comes off better Shiro trades, but SKADE, they've got some kills off of this, you know. Oxygen and Denislaw, in fact, do double up. Axel enters. Now, a bit more work to do, but the B site is at least Axel's, and that could be something towards this bomb plant.
Yeah, Axel has it, but the bomb's really far away. SKADE, they know it too, and Denislaw's found Axel. Inter's alone. There's the argument to suggest he needs to just back out with his AK. He'll find the first, and he'll find the second. He wants to clutch this one 1v4. There's 2 more left to hunt, and his position is known. Has the info on the short player and market now. Knows the location of both of his opponents. Takes a breather. They're trying to peek him. Spellan trying to make his life difficult. He knows that he has to plant at some point. Commits for the fake, but nobody is going to swing around on the wide pick. They know that time is on their side, and Oxygen creeps forward, finds his 3rd kill of the round, and wrestles it back in SKADE's favor. They can pick that up convincingly, and it's brilliant deagle play from him.
I'm really scared this is now going to become one of those games where teams just keep forcing in the hopes that it helps cement them rounds, and I'm concerned if Gambit youngsters get a full buyout here. And AWP is there, at least AKs to follow. Our first full gun round comes at a cost of numerous force buys clocked away. Alan missed Molotov. Monk at least gives him some safety, but it isn't going to be Gambit focusing on mid. It's now a bit more defensive and a bit more safer. A bit more momentum also towards A. 2 players towards ramp and 1 in Palace.
I think what we saw from SKADE in that last round as well is a very viable strategy to utilize here on Mirage. Mid is such an important region of the map for the T's. It opens up multiple avenues of attack onto both A and B. You get at least 1 more way into the bomb site. So if you can keep that part of the map under tight control as the CTs, you can deny a lot of creativity from the offensive side and shut down their options. And when you can do it with excellent aim like you saw from Oxygen, you can just destroy any semblance of an execute from the T's.
Talking about a T-sided execute, Gambit youngsters at least now setting up towards this A-sided play. 3 players in Palace, just the 2 on ramp. The missed AWP shot may now give Gambit an opportunity, but Spellan pushing through at least can capitalize from under duplicate. It's only 1, but it's still good enough. It's SKADE now at least have some advantage. Axel and Inters both tagged up.
Both tagged up, and with a flank on the way, their chances of winning this round begin to dwindle. The first player found by Rainwaker leaves Axel alone in the 1v3. He'll convert the first headshot, but he's an AWP and an AK to find if he wants to call this round his. With 15 seconds left on the clock, that bomb still has to be recovered towards ramp also. And Axel at this point, he just needs to back out of there and save the AK. Instead, he's going to get aggressive, and Spellan will punish him. SKADE, they're 1 away from tying it up.
A perfect response, really, just holding on to the site. Spellan with that AWP just did well to quickly find those kills. And Gambit youngsters, they at least attempted for the trades, but it wasn't as clean and it wasn't as tidy as maybe they would have wanted. The youngsters' money is essentially down the drain. SKADE, and I look towards tying this up pretty easily, unless we see a shock with what is a pistol eco round.
Yeah, it'd have to be the clock victory from the Gambit youngsters, and if they charge out mid like this, Denislaw's going to keep cleaning them up. The eco frags fed to him as Shiro at least gets Spellan in reply, but Glocks against head armor apparently can do a lot more work. He'll get the follow-up double dink as well, which is pretty good. But it's all tied up at the end of the day in SKADE. They're starting to look like a lethal force of their own.
They're now looking to really turn up and really strike blood. And Denislaw, that's a bit of a statement in mid with only eco kills, but nice and easy. All 4 found. Not a concern, as now at least SKADE have a full buyout against Gambit youngsters' full AK purchase. Zero back on the AWP. And a quick Molotov as default. With GAMBIT youngsters looking again likely to try and compromise mid.
They are. They know how important it is for them to get it under their own control as well. But Rainwaker waits on the other side of the smoke. He even gets the second. Nafany, he can reply in kind, but Rainwaker has already done enough to win the man advantage into his side's favor. The GAMBIT youngsters now, they've got one player in Inters who's stuck in a palace smoke, and the other two just isolated and lost out mid. The bomb all the way back in T-spawn. It's going to be at least 20 seconds before the Russian side can even make their way into a bomb site here. And SKADE, with just those opening mid kills, have eaten so much of this round away.
Yeah, the youngsters now have to really group up and gamble as to what the best option is. Given the Fanny's position and Inter's up in Palace, you can only assume the A execute is now the best option, but this AWP is so going to be deadly. Spellin up close. He finds a kill on the bomb planter also, or the bomb carrier at this point. Then so many issues really could arise. 38 seconds and the Fanny neither has been given any info. 2-2 split, but Spellin does strike blood first.
He gets the opener, but Duplicate, his teammate, has also been found. It leaves him isolated with the AWP, and he can't lock those fights down. That's the bomb site given away to the GAMBIT youngsters now. They have one flash and grenade to work with, but they double peek CT at the perfect time, and it's all on Oxygen, rotating over from the B site to try and save this one. Nafany, he's on for the ace in this round, and when he catches Oxygen out with a smoke, it looks like he might get it as well. He does. 5 kills in the round, and single-handedly, he gives GAMBIT youngsters the lead.
A good individual effort there, and that's what GAMBIT youngsters really wanted, just an individual to shine in a scenario where they looked locked out of the site. And I assume that with Spellin playing that close towards ramp, that they were going to be given the opportunity to just shot GAMBIT youngsters out of the A site. And it does require a pause because, well, Oxygen, I don't know what weapon he's going to have in this upcoming round. Their team's economy isn't ideal. Spellin's got at least a scoped weapon out. Duplicate's got an M4 also. Going forward, they now have to keep an eye on their finances because, as we said earlier, the CT side, if you don't have a stable economy, then not only do your weapons go out the window, then your potential game plan can also disappear.
You're absolutely right. It just all goes wrong. Once you start losing control of that economy, you start making the decision to force after force after force. By the time that teams normally realize that their force buys just aren't working, they've wasted so many rounds and given such an economic boon to their opponents that it can be the destruction of entire halves at that point in time. Thankfully for SKADE, they've done well to keep the GAMBIT economy in check. They're still not too far away from having to eco themselves. So if the work can be done by the Deagles and these rifles, you can see the justification behind the buy. But there's a lot of work to be done once again, and they've gamble stacked towards B to do it.
Well, it's a big call to really stack towards B. Fanny up close. Does he expect Oxygen, though? It should be a common angle, but look at this trigger discipline. Oh, that's insane. Goes for the slam, gets both of them. Axel's shot was even better. And just so quickly, do SKADE not only gain an advantage, but give 2 players and gain a weapon.
Supra, he'll get one in reply on to Duplicate, but there are still 3 rifles available for the CTs, and it's all about the timing. Oxygen, he again finds more kills. Supra goes down, and Shiro and Inters, they're left to try and claim B. The site not being actively contested as of yet. You can see Oxygen moving in and thinking about it, but Shiro's AWP will take him out of the round and set SKADE up for a retake. Shiro doesn't expect the close angle of Denislaw, who's eventually cleaned up by Inters, but he in turn left in the 1v2 is gifted his life by a missed shot from Spellin.
I thought that was going to connect. Hold on, Inters. He might have a chance in this. Only a Galil to work with, but 2 players. If he gets these one-on-one aim drills, he more than has a chance. Rainwalker or Rainmaker says no to that. Inters takes him out, and that'll be 2 AWPs, which the SKADE side save over going into round 5. I'm amazed that that shot just didn't connect from door.
Yeah, Spellan just not able to hit it towards the end there. And once again, it's Oxygen who does the work in this round with the Deagle. It's that second shot that's the beautiful one. If he doesn't land that headshot, you know he's not long for this world. But that just opens everything up in the round. Ties it up at 5-5 again. And with double AWPs out, they're facing a Gambit Youngsters eco. This is SKADE's opportunity to really take control of the match.
This is a good time to really do it again. They look towards mid, but Axel, in fact, gets an opening, and they look towards that kill, they get it, and then Gambit Youngsters just fall back and play it safe. So they've done well to really secure the advantage, and doubled up as well as Dennis Law actually just gets taken out. They won't get the AWP, but for Gambit Youngsters, that's a really swift 2-0 advantage to gain on this eco.
2 quick Deagle headshots, and you really see why this pistol is just so dangerous. It has the potential in the right angles. You've got to be in the right situations, but if you can get into them, you can be rewarded, just like Duplicate has been here. 2 looking for 3. That's the bomb dropped by the MP9. With Supra all the way on the other side of the map as well, only Inters has the opportunity to recover it. This round should be over. And with the AWP shot, it is indeed. SKADE take the lead, and Gambit, they have to buy up into the next.
But you can't help but feel that was scary from SKADE's point of view to lose those initial engagements, even taking an AWP out, and Duplicate, he more or less had an easy one with the 2 players so tagged up in advance. So the early work done essentially gave SKADE that advantage, and now they are in control. 2 AWPs, M4s, and an MP9. For Gambit Youngsters, it's a heavily AK purchase.
Yeah, leaning on those automatic rifles supporting Shiro's AWP. The Molotovs actually miss Spellan, and there's a gap in the smoke. That is a recipe for disaster if I've ever heard it. But again, he can't connect the shots, unfortunately. A missed opportunity gives Gambit Youngsters that mid control. He wants to re-aggress towards window. You can see it, but he's already missed his chance at this point. He just has to back off, give the control to the Youngsters, and reposition for when a site execute inevitably comes through.
Well, Dennis Law this time is the player up close towards ramp with the AWP. Duplicate's got his cover from Palace. But it's again mid-control where this Russian side really looked to thrive off of. There is an AWP to be aware of on short, though. Spellan is now just falling away. Funny. I thought there was a consideration to really push the smoke. At least he didn't. At least he's played the safer option. The bomb heading towards B. And if Nafani just lurking here, even finds 1 or 2 kills, then SKADE might get 1 rotation away, but it's Axel who at least strikes blood first.
Spellan under pressure towards B. He's in the flames, has to run away, reposition, and wait for this T-side attack to come in. Nafani's found one from his connector angle, but the rest of SKADE are on their way to B. And look at this huge flank from Duplicate on the MP9. He doesn't have the opportunity to deny, though, because the Youngsters have made their way out underpass, and Nafani once again holds the fate of this round on his shoulders, finds Rainwaker, the pivotal kill. That gives time for Youngsters to plant on the A bomb site, and it prevents Spellan's rotation. His play in this particular round, just so lethal on that lurk, really shutting it down from SKADE.
Well, Duplicate really needs a kill to really make any sort of retake work out, and there was damage, really, but Shiro 2 HP is almost a god for coming off better in that scenario. So Nafani now a lot of work to do if he wants to win this, or at least find the last kill. Spellan is low, but he does have that deadly AWP. And they don't even want to commit towards it. They want to play the safe game. And lucky for Spellan, really, if he can keep this AWP, because his team's economic position isn't too ideal.
You're absolutely right. The Gambit Youngsters have put SKADE in a really tough position now in the twilight of this half. They've done well to break the money and keep it where it is. And it's going to cause SKADE to take another timeout, because you can just see it, right? You can see the temptation. Spellan has got 5.4k. He can definitely drop a rifle. Oxygen, he can pick up an SMG and armor if he wants one. Arguably, Rainwaker can do the same thing, but the buy is just so dodgy up against the full rifles that if you invest all the way at this point, you're not going to get a full buy in the next round, and you're basically waiting at that point for the last in the half, which is Gambit Youngsters. It's their opportunity to win 9-6 then.
Whoever does come off better for potentially a 9-6 half also just has that buffer to work with going into the second half. And SKADE, in fact, do want to commit towards a Spellan. Will have a scout. Oxygen and MP9 with armor. For Rainwalker, I feel like that might just be a pistol. GAMBIT Youngsters side again go for a slightly change of pace and a change of idea. All 5 grouped up towards A. Fast smokes, fast utility goes out. And SKADE have 3 players at least prepared to maybe hold on to the side.
The Orcs have to do the work. They find the first, but a rifle in the close range removes Denny's law. Spellan rings out for the second shot and needs his teammates' support. He's alone right now, up against the weight of the world. Rainwaker arrives, but Spellan instead finds the kill himself. 2-on-3 situation. He's eventually aggressed and Axel removes him. That's the important one, because Oxygen and Rainwaker, what do they have to work with? And AWP is the answer. It gets the work done at the end, and now the MP9 has to find it against Axel. Smoke in the wrong place, but an AK found for Oxygen.
Yeah, such a vital one-on-one as well to really try and win. No kit means time is a massive concern, and Axel's just got the angle, he's got the sound cues, and he's just about got the aim to perform the headshot to give GAMBIT Youngsters that 7th to restore that lead marginally. The AWP is kept, and SKADE's money isn't ideal after that force buy.
You're absolutely right. It was definitely a gamble. It was so close, so messy in that round, but eventually GAMBIT Youngsters come out on top, and that forces SKADE onto the eco. They know that a force here would just be suicide for their prospects at the end of this half. So instead, they hard eco and stack towards the A site. Thankfully for them, it's where GAMBIT have chosen to attack, but these unarmored USPs are famously ineffective against the rifles.
I mean, 1 or 2 kills wouldn't try and hurt, but for now, Supra ensures there isn't an issue from Oxygen nor duplicates. But Rainwalker and Spellan have at least got kills back, and they've kept this competitive. In fact, an AK gain. Spellan, a 1-on-2 up in Palace. He's more than got a chance in this scenario. And the Fanny are close, just missing and not quite converting anything.
What?
Has at least the kill, but 20 HP. Axel against Spellan.
How has it come down to this? Spellan. It starts with a knife. He picks up the AK and finds 2 more. And now he's in the clutch position. The bomb as well under his control with that last kill. Axel has to go up the ladder to pick it up, and Spellan knows it. He's going to rotate all the way around himself and look to hold this one from mid. Time certainly not on his side. Axel going to be aware that some kind of a rotation has happened, but it's all a guessing game of positioning now.
This would be a 4th kill for Spellan if he can cement this round as well. SKADE, they're looking to tie this up after what's been a pretty adventurous and very demanding eco. And what? Axel wasn't even looking that way. He somehow just flicked in time. So close, but so far for SKADE.
You've got to feel terrible for Spellan in that situation. Because he makes the mid jump, Axel just has no idea that he's going to come from window, and he just misses the opening headshot there. Spellan gives his position away and gets flicked out on the corner. Such a rough clutch to lose. He'd done all the work, but just at the end there, it all goes away. We have a pause now, as it looks like SKADE have lost a player to the disconnection. It is Duplicate who is making his way back into the server as we look ahead to the final round of this half, Louis, and it's been a close one so far.
It's certainly been one of those maps which has just been mainly full of force buying, if anything, but you're right, it's been certainly close, and it's been certainly demanding, at least from GAMBIT Youngsters' point of view. They've been up against lots of these half and weird buys, which SKADE, you wouldn't always expect them to go for it. Shockingly enough, they've got 6 rounds out of quite a few of them, so they've certainly pulled off a great little performance so far. And heading into the second half, I've got full confidence that SKADE can certainly keep this competitive, but CT side hasn't been ideal. Maybe when they get AKs, they could pull off a lot more damage, and I think that's the scary thing for GAMBIT Youngsters.
I absolutely agree with you there. It is the scary thing because at the end of the day, the T side is the favored side of Mirage. And for Gambit youngsters, it's their map pick. You look at their statistics on Train and they've got a 38% win rate across 8 maps there on Train compared to SKADE's 58% across 19. They're so much more comfortable in the next battleground that realistically speaking, they have to be the heavy favorites for the second map. So the Gambit youngsters know that their best chances at winning this series lie in the 2-1. They lie in getting to Dust 2. And if they want to make it to Dust 2, they have to play strongly here on Mirage and take the win.
At least SKADE have money to work with going into this 15th round. Duplicate has returned, and with it, a full gun round, which I've not had the opportunity to say too often in this opening map, in this best of 3. Remember, the winner of this makes their way towards the playoffs of this opening cup here at the Malta Vibes event. But on the AWP, I feel like he could be so dangerous. The flash in mid early on isn't helpful for either side. Shiro just looks towards connected, but misses the timing. Denislaw, he gets 2 of them.
The second frag as well. That is beautiful. Duplicate's flash is perfectly placed, and it dismantles that mid attack from the Gambit youngsters. They're left reeling yet again from SKADE's mid hold. They want to look over at the B site, but the CT utility is going to be deployed. It's going to slow these Ts down. And Oxygen, there's a gap in that smoke. I think he just spots Axel there.
He's just waiting and holding. He surely has the idea. He's got some concern that there's someone up close. And for normally to take out a Galil at this sort of angle, an off angle as well. Not really been a place where we've seen many SKADE players playing on the defensive end, but Reventer's not really finding too much towards A, and for now looking towards the top of middle. They've got 40 seconds to make a play. It will be towards B. An AK and an M4 now have to do damage, and Oxygen's already got 1.
He already has. Shiro on less than 30 HP. It's impossible for him to contest these fights on his own. On 25 points of health, you'd normally suggest the save, but it's the last round of the first half. They have to commit against all 5 SKADE players up and kicking. Inters gives his angle away. That caused the rotations, and Shiro now left alone finds the first flick, but there's 3 more players hunting him. The flank is what punishes him. Rainwaker gets it, and it's an 8-7 scoreline once again in the opening stages of these series.
A seriously close half on really a map which is normally quite open, and compared to what we saw earlier on, realistically, all the players on the server are more or less pulling their weight onto this. Duplicate and Supra, 8 and 7 kills individually, but still they've had impact, and that's the great thing about this. All 10 players on the server, they're showing up, they're keeping this close, and going into the second half, SKADE, a pistol loss wouldn't be a concern, but it would certainly help them mentally and also economically.
This is where the pressure really starts to amp up for the Gambit youngsters too. Now that they're on that defensive side of things, they've switched on to the CT side, and the Ts are going to be aggressing straight into them. And what is that going to do to their odds? I have absolutely no idea. Those loot bet odds are available. You can check those out and bet on this matchup whenever you would like to. Theoretically, they should be in favor of the Gambit youngsters here on Mirage, but now on the defense, they are really going to be tested.
And a slow up close. Axel, I think Axel gave up his position just as soon as he rushed in towards window. Rainmaker at least gets the bomb plant, but Gambit youngsters heavily towards CT spawn at this point. Now have to make a play and have to get some opening kill. They've got a kit on the fanny. They've got 2 flashes also up close. Axel, a loser. As Denislaw actually fights off better. 1-for-1 trade is what Inters really is looking for, and Nafani and Super, in fact, get kills so quickly.
It all falls apart. SKADE, they just lose control of the A-bomb site. The USP's on the retake. The range just absolutely beautiful for them, and the Gambit youngsters, they're able to take this opening pistol. Once Denislaw took short control like that, It looks super promising for the Bulgarians, but they just can't hold on there.
Well, for SKADE's point of view, they actually want to force us out. Unsurprising given what we saw in the first half from them, but realistically, Gambit youngsters could be pegged back from the economy if they lose some of these M4s, or at least the one they've got out on Shiro. Lots of utility means a fast speed play is more than viable in this scenario, but just going to slow things down and set off some smokes and flashes over safer play. And it's going to be Axel and Enters, the two players looking to hold off this short and apartments control.
They charge through the smokes and the utility, but Axel is waiting. His FAMAS has found 3 big kills already. Rainwaker replies with 1, and Spellan gets the second, but they're tagged down so low that access to this bomb site may be firmly denied by the Gambit youngsters. That's the bomb down. Spellan on just 15. Is there even an argument to save the MAC-10 at this point in time? Who knows? It's not a successful round from SKADE, and the youngsters put themselves on 10.
This was the start, really, which the youngsters had to go in for them. They had to just ensure they got a bit of confidence, and they keep players alive. Balan, the bomb obviously not available to him. That's dropped in Gambit control. That's why they've just kept hold and kept watch of what's going on over on B, but 15 HP, 1 or 2 kills out of this wouldn't be a disappointment. 35 seconds is his time limit to work with. It's going to be super up close, the first point of contact.
It's not a successful meeting though. Supra will land the headshot. Gambit youngsters, they put themselves on 10, and SKADE, now is the time for themselves to take the eco. The contact B play just not working out. They get churned up by the CT crossfires, and now they are left reeling economically. Sticking on to the pistols then, they will have an opportunity to win this round at least. We know they can do work with the Deagles, but it looks likely that the Gambit youngsters are going to have 11 here.
I don't want to count SKADE out of some of these pistol buys because they did lots of damage when they had those opportunities over in the first half. Completely different side of things when you're on the T side though, so 1 or 2 kills is probably the safest outcome they can probably come out with. But Gambit youngsters though, not fully committing at least towards upgraded rifles quite yet. The money in the second half so far isn't perfect, but it's still quite early days. They've got quite a few MP9s still in that. FAMAS also available.
Yeah, the automatic weaponry is available on that Gambit side, right? And that is the important thing when going up against the pistols, is that you have the firepower advantage. You can put more bullets out. But the issue that it presents is the MP9s aren't a one-shot headshot at range, and a Deagle is. We know SKADE can use them effectively, and that's a very dangerous prospect.
Yeah, that's the concern. If you're going face-to-face against the Deagle, especially at this level as well, it's scary. It's actually damaging, and it can certainly flip the outcome of any specific round. And for Gambit youngsters, if they do just try and play it safe, go with some off angles, try and ensure that SKADE don't get these easier advantages just to get on and get some one-taps, and it should be an easy cleanup for the Russians, but don't count the SKADE side out.
Certainly not. Would not want to be counting that SKADE side out just yet. We haven't actually seen them utilize a full gun round on the T side, and I'm sure that when we do see one come out for them in the round following this one that is upcoming, they're going to have something interesting to show us. But at least for now, they do have to stick down onto those pistols. 1 smoke in the hands of Spellan. That's going to be utilized to assist in the bomb plant. More than likely, just get the bonus cash is the primary objective here for SKADE. Make that work forward into the next round where you'll have the guns available.
Quite quick, in fact, and SKADE today again go for the approach for Gambit, went in mid and just got kills, and in fact a Gambit easy win so far. Spellan, the last player left, fighting on the pass. These Deagles haven't achieved too much, but SKADE, they at least get the eco more or less out of the way.
They do indeed. Spellan alone with his deagle to hand, just lurking in the underpass, hoping that someone's going to walk into him. It's one of the best angles to utilize that deagle, but his spot's been given away and Shiro cleans him up. Just 2 points of damage taken by the youngsters to the pistols of SKADE there, and Shiro getting those nice cleanup kills towards mid as well. You do love to see them, but this is the first real test for the youngsters CT side. It's a SKADE full buy now. They have the rifles on the board, presumably Spellan picking up that AWP, instead electing to stick on the AK in favor of the utility. And this is where SKADE have to start winning rounds here on Mirage.
Yeah, for sure. This AWP would really be a deadly threat if given the opportunity over towards middle. But from underpass, in fact, Nafani with some early damage. Dennis Law does something in response. A repeat was deadly. Nafani at least gets one, but Rain Waker does trade out.
Nafani, the repeat is a great decision there. Could have found two, but unfortunately not able to flick quickly enough. SKADE, because of that one lost kill, they're not confident in this B execute whatsoever. They've left two players towards A this whole time, and they're feeling this side of the map instead. They want to angle their smokes towards the A bomb site, and the rotations for Gambit are already coming through based off of this aggression from Axor.
We're just repositions now. Youngsters, they're more or less prepared that this A attack is definitely going to be a thing, and keep watch of the flank because Axel could certainly provide something with the M4s. And there he is. At least finds Rain Waker. One back and wants to play the safe game, wants to instead back out. But with this approach, it means Gambit Youngsters can maybe have a chance to work towards apartments, a peek in, and that's his death. So Spellan comes off better, and the B site might now be a likely opportunity.
Oh, there's just 30 seconds left, though, and if there wasn't this little time left on the clock, SKADE would have attacked A still. They would still have had the time to do it, but now they've bottlenecked themselves into the site that Gambit are stacking. Inter's behind the bench. He's supported by Shiro on the close angle with the AWP, but one of these two has to open it up. Inter's is the first man to do it. Oxygen is still miles away from helping out here, and Duplicate alone with the bomb can't get anything done. Time is all up, and SKADE, they get too twitchy. They rotate over towards the B bomb site, and it's actually the wrong call. Yeah,
it really got quite scary in the end. SKADE, it would have been so much simpler if they committed towards A, but it wasn't the plan. It wasn't what they wanted to work with. So 12-7 down. Youngsters on their map pick so far, making it look more or less easy. And a pause at possibly a good time just to allow SKADE to work out how their money can really allow for what could be a concerning buy. They are going to force out at least some deagles around what they kept earlier. Zero still has an AWP. Youngsters still have M4s and an AK. And unless really SKADE come out of this with a couple kills and then find loss in the next round, then this map could be far from available to them.
You're absolutely right. SKADE, they are struggling here on the T side of Mirage. They played too fast and loose with their economy, I think, and you're really starting to see the detrimental effects of that now. Oxygen has the AK to boot, but what else can SKADE work with outside of the pistols? That is the question. They want to attack A this time. They'll leave Spellan to lurk solo over towards B, and hopefully they'll be able to crack in with some success here.
Well, the smokes and flashes go out as defaults. Go on towards ramp, and that nade is really juicy. It just tags them up. Super and Shiro can just take advantage and kill a piece. And another Molotov in towards Palace. That's a great peek by Rain Wake. Have just traded out though. Super on the site. 5 HP. So lucky to be alive. While the AWP just couldn't escape in the end. The Fanny found the kill back. Spellan couldn't do anything on B.
Absolutely nothing could be done. Gambit Youngsters, they're up on to 13, but the money for SKADE is good enough for them to get the buy together. They'll pull the AKs out, but time is now running out for them here on Mirage. The Youngsters need just 3 to force us on to map 2 early on, and they're showing us a clinical display at the moment of this CT side of Mirage.
Of course, Train's going to be following. for SKADE. A big do or die moment now is this round. They've at least got an AWP on Spell, and he couldn't retrieve it from last time, but the money just allowed it for this round, and, well, Dennis Law is the first to fall. GAMBIT youngsters, who despite missing that smoke, won't be too concerned.
Not quite, at least. In the opening instances, as SKADE, they're left guessing again. Where do they attack? All of their efforts so far in this half have been in vain, and they've decided they want to target the A-bomb site again this time. 3 players will be actively defending it from them, and it really has to be Supra on the aggressive angle to do the majority of the heavy lifting.
Perfectly timed smoke as well. SKADE, they are looking hungry to approach the A site. 1 in Palace. The remaining 3 grouped up towards Ramp and Shiro. I thought he was going to set off a flash for Supra to work with, but they're playing the safe game. They now wait to see what SKADE can really attack and work with going forward. Flash in, Supra. Well, there's damage. There's a kill at least found, but Spellen, the AWP tagged up, and Oxygen trades out. But Spellen now is left to do an awful lot more work with 25 seconds to go.
The trades are good enough on the defense, and Spellan isolated with 20 seconds. Just retreat into Palace, get out of there. Why throw the AWP away? Instead, he's going to commit to the plant to try and work with this round. Molotov behind him and rifles in front of him. It's not a sandwich you want to be involved in. GAMBIT youngsters, they're going to put 14 on the board, and SKADE have yet to win a T-side round.
The other issue you've got to consider for SKADE at this point, you're 7 rounds back. And from their point of view, they've not really got any conversion done. They've not had the best of chances to not just get bomb plants, but even attack onto the sites. GAMBIT youngsters, some of their holds have been pretty strong and clinical. And now it's going to be Shiro back on the only AWP of the map. For the youngsters, a win on this big gun round is going to cement their map point on their home turf. Again, SKADE look towards mid, and only smoke in the way. Shiro actually blocks his smoke, so maybe an opportunity, and that's duplicate found and caught out already.
Beautiful effort. Spellan's found the refrag, but eventually the CT trades come out on top. And it's 3 rifles from SKADE left guessing again. Oxygen somehow finds that headshot, but Shiro's already rotated in. 3rd kill already in the round, and only 30 seconds off the clock before the bomb goes down. 3-on-2 retake for the youngsters, and SKADE just have 1 flashbang to work with.
You can't help but feel SKADE, they're not in the best positions either to really hold on to the site. The after plant is just awkward, and that nade so hurtful towards Rainmaker. But they don't consider apartments. Nafani from behind is allowed the first kill. Last thing that working out. And for Supra out of door, it's an easy one. The youngsters have now map point on their turf. SKADE, they haven't been allowed to turn up on this T side. They've not produced anything of hope.
Not at all, and Shiro really starting to warm up on the CT AWP. This round all but his, and his team need to win just 1 more to force us on to SKADE's map pick. It's unfortunate for the fragging for SKADE because everyone was doing decently in that first half, but Duplicate, once we transferred over to the T side, hasn't found anything at all by the looks of things. He's really struggling now, and SKADE as a team just aren't making the waves they should be. They go quickly out mid. They want connector control, but Flames at their feet will delay the advance. Axel, he wants to put pressure on these mid players as well. They can hear him. They go for the counter boost, but Shiro hasn't been found. Instead, it's Spellan who takes the majority of that damage, and he's eventually removed by Axel. Yeah,
that crossfire they've more or less got in play towards window. Really nice, and that's a great opening towards A. Oxygen at least takes out his opponent. Supra now in an awkward angle, just loses the time with the smoke out. Shiro, again, the man to trade out, and he is certainly turning up now, up on 23 kills, but he is now smoked off. Intis, his teammate, actually falls in the process. So if youngsters want to win it now, it will be an AK to get 2 of them.
2 kills needed. 2 kills found already. And 2 flashbangs in the pocket. Shiro has the chance, but decides the AWP is more valuable. His team has enough money to fall by in the next round, so why not just wait it out until it's a 5v5 rather than trying to force the win in the 1-on-2. SKADE eventually put a T round on the board. They will get 8 together, but they're going to be straight up against a Gambit full buy in the next one. It's not going to be an easy job to force overtime for SKADE.
That feels like that's going to be an awfully good loss bonus also, and the advantage for SKADE is, despite having this loss bonus, despite having the bomb plant, the AWP is still missing. They can't afford that. They've all got to go for the rifles and the AK semi-automatics instead. And with the youngsters keeping that AWP on Shiro, who certainly has been in control and turning up, especially in these latter stages, you can only hope that SKADE again have to just cancel the AWP out, ensure he can't do anything. And that's maybe how SKADE finds something back in Mirage, if they can even convert anymore.
Well, in their efforts to convert more, they look towards the B-bomb site. Shiro, he's playing aggressively with this AWP, though, and he could find at least 1 kill here. Early flash instead forces him off the angle, and SKADE want to go straight out. Molotov's down at the feet, should be doing heavy damage. Rainwaker on 22, but he's found his way out of the door. That's what's important. Inters will only get 1 on the defense. It's Axel to rotate in, though. The speed, like the wind, he arrives and finds 2 kills on the retake.
Oh, I thought Rainmaker was dead, so he's 1 HP, still hiding towards Van, and it's so awkward for him. A nade could have taken him out, but Super at least delivers back. Denislaw now needs 2 to maybe keep his side in this, and it's been a SKADE side who sadly on Mirage haven't given us too much to be cheerful about. Super will close out, and that will be 16-8. The Russian squad now have a 1-map lead, and what a performance as well.
Indeed they do. The Gambit youngsters, after what was a very close first half, dominate the CT side of Mirage and defeat SKADE 16-8 in the first map of this best of 3 series. It seems like a theme that we've been seeing recently, Louis. Very close in the first half, but somebody pulling away in the second.
Yes, we've had this all tournament so far, and it is becoming just a recurring concept for whoever really goes into that second half. They don't look good. We saw it in our opening best of 1 game earlier this evening. Again, yesterday, in some of our best of 3s, it was just one-sided affairs all the way up to that second half. And I don't know what it is, whether it's a mental attitude or whether it's that finance is not coming for them quick enough. The second half has been a struggle for lots of teams, and it's something that so many people have to be aware of going forward now.
The second half, a struggle for SKADE then on Mirage, but they still have an opportunity to make the playoffs. Gambit youngsters 1-0 up as we head over to SKADE's map pick of Train, up next in the series after this commercial break. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to this Decider series in the opening Malta Vibes Cup. It is SKADE versus the Gambit youngsters. We just saw the youngsters convincingly take their own map pick of Mirage with a strong CT side performance coming through Group B. After their loss to SKADE earlier on, the youngsters were able to beat Singularity, which sees them in the rematch against the Bulgarians. Now, Fours are your other side who have qualified to the playoffs after beating SKADE in a best of three earlier and Singularity in that best of one. We're just heading into train relatively soon where we'll be able to see whether or not SKADE can stay in the mix in this best of three. My name is Protalis, and joining me, as he always does, is Louis. How are you feeling about this upcoming map?
It feels like it's going to be one of those maps which it's going to be a tough one for Gambit youngsters going forward. I'd love to say that they could go on and close this out 2-0, but you look around at the stats and the information we've got, and they just don't play it too much. They've got, or this is their worst map looking at the stats going into this. So when you consider that SKADE, one of their better maps also means they should be favoured going into this. A 1-1 scoreline is probably what I expect to see after this, and it's train. It's one of those CT heavy maps, which it's going to be so good to see what both sides really bring out on their offending ends of things.
It certainly looks like SKADE have punish picked Gambit a lot here, the youngsters, with this train pick. They don't look statistically like the most comfortable side on it, but there's always a chance. It's not like they're constantly getting blown out on the map. It's just not their favorite battleground. So if they can preserve some of that momentum from the CT side of Mirage, if Shiro can keep up his level of AWPing, then they certainly have a chance here in the second map.
Yes, I'm not saying it is going to be impossible for the youngsters to pull off and find a victory here either, but they've had a couple wins, but it's more losses on their end of things. So whether they've got some new plans or ideas going into this event with Train, obviously yet to be a map they've actually played in this cup so far today, so it's going to be new for them, at least for today's point of view. But as you said, Shiro was certainly making a mark, especially near the end of Mirage in the second half, and the second half really, which we didn't see anything from SKADE.
Not at all. Their T side looked weak, quite frankly. They weren't able to get into many bomb sites, very few plants. And overall, I think it was just poor economy management more than anything on that T side. You can see that because the CT side was so close, they wanted to force up a little bit too much at the beginning of their T half. And by that point in time, Gambit had already been given something like 12 or 13 rounds on their CT side. And it looked at that point like it was just a matter of time before they won.
And I think that's something SKADE also need to be careful of as well, because even on their CT side in the early stages, they were forcing out, and a couple of times it worked out. So it's not impossible if they want to force out, but they've got to do it at the right time. They can't be doing factors where they force too late and then suddenly, because of it, it's game over. They've got to be careful with their planning of it, or maybe just don't even consider doing it at all. But we saw it so much on Mirage that I think it's inevitable that it's going to come out on Train.
Especially when you consider that we are heading into train. Economy management is so important because of how important utility really is on the map. It can be the difference maker, especially on that CT side. And if SKADE are going for these force buys and aren't able to bring out the grenades all of the time, then there is a really feasible situation where they let this map slip away from them. But it hasn't gotten underway yet. We have had a nice break between Mirage and this battleground. So theoretically, SKADE should have had a chance to mentally reset and just calm down a bit before heading into this map.
Yes, and also I think it just gives them an opportunity just to make sure they've got a clean head and a nice focus going into Train as well. One of those maps where steamrolling can certainly become a common factor if you're losing rounds on that T side. It's Train, it's CT side, which so many people just keep saying and keep bringing up. But at this level, it's certainly a level where T-sided teams, if they get an opportunity, they can certainly show up. And I think Fours have a little bit of an advantage there, given their experience and given how long they've played together before.
Absolutely. We'll have to see whether or not that is just going to be so much of a factor in this particular map. Whichever side can get a strong T side on the go will certainly feel the benefits of it. As you mentioned, that CT side being so much easier. Yes, you have to worry about your economy, and that's the key factor. I think it really is easy on that CT side as long as your money's flush. If you're on the CT side and you're not stringing rounds together, you're constantly taking these losses and can't get the full buys, then it can be a real nightmare to behold. So the objective of whoever is going to start on that T side, even if they aren't able to completely dominate the half, if they can do strategic economy damage, make sure 3 or 4 players from those CTs are dying every round, eventually you'll start to see the Ts pull ahead.
Yeah, and you look at some of the individuals that SKADE have, Spell and Denislaw, Rainwaker, they were all turning up and making some individual efforts. So I feel as though SKADE, they should have a solid chance of really coming back into this. Currently 1 map down after what was the horrendous end of Mirage in the end, given how close it was. We're preparing to get into the 9th round, which hopefully we can show you also. And
yeah,
it's going to be a big one. Gambit, SKADE.
Indeed, it is. Going up for the win then. The Gambit youngsters, they have the opportunity to take it 2-0, but they're certainly uncomfortable on this map. So the opportunity to begin on the CT side would really be a great opportunity for them.
Yes, I mean, I'd love to see really but what both sides can really bring to their offensive end also. Just I was going to say a standard 9th round for this level, but they were just backing away and forcing SKADE into a corner. Now the youngsters, they will most likely go towards that CT side. Most likely.
Yeah, they just have to pick it realistically. It's the only viable decision in this scenario. I can't see why they'd want to put themselves on the back foot to begin with, unless they just have that supreme confidence. I was expecting the switch, but it does look like they are going to stick on the T side of things. It's a very interesting call from them, and it looks like they want to start this match with the pace under their control.
And that's a big thing about Train also. If you get the pace, if you get this momentum built up, especially on the CT side, and Gambit youngsters who look to be starting on the offensive end of things, sorry, they're going to have to be careful that not too much gets lost too quickly. SKADE will be looking for a positive start. Their pistol round includes Duplicate carrying an awful bit of utility. No kit, but smoke, a flash, and a grenade. Anthony will have the smoke and the flash on his side's point of view, and looking towards Ivy. It's where the Russians for now early on look to work with.
Indeed. Just the small amounts of utility for the T's to try and find a way in. They pressure Ivy, and Oxygen takes a couple of tags, which is enough for him to back off of the angle. Everyone else from SKADE holding true for now, and he's behind the smoke. Oxygen can't actively contest, but the grenade does good damage, and Rainwaker, he does yet more on this A bomb site. Nafany and Axel tag down low, but it's Shiro who finds the opening kill. He'll get the first with his upgraded pistol, and SKADE on the way back in. They're looking for the kills. Eventually, they start to fall their way as it gets locked into the 3-on-3.
Yeah, Gambit youngsters at least have the advantage now. Supra finding Rainmaker, but that's quickly cancelled out. Denislaw on site has found Nafany, and while a aggressive peek might be dangerous, Denislaw certainly wants to go for it, and that's a brilliant headshot. Enters. He's the man to fall next, so Supra has an awful bit of work to do. The bomb dropped on site, and he's just missed the player to the right of him, and they hear that. They hear the bomb pick up. Ooh. Supra, one back means this isn't impossible on the B site. That is an option.
Oh, he speeds away like Sonic the Hedgehog. Supra running onto this B bomb site, has to put that bomb down. And now he's got to take the long-range fight against the USP. Denislaw is going to want to keep this as far away as possible, and Supra wants to drag it up close and personal, virtually in melee range for that Glock to be the most effective. Head spotted, but it's found by Denislaw. A close one for the youngsters, but it's SKADE who pick up the opening pistol.
A nice opening advantage for them, and that was close. I want to get a petition going to rename Supra to Sonic. Supra the Hedgehog. They'd do defuse, and a nice advantage, but it was a close one. It was that one-on-one aim duel, which meant that realistically Gambit could certainly force into this. That bomb plant especially helped it. But I wouldn't be surprised if they'd have gone for the safer option either. In fact, AK's come out, a scout also. And it's a pretty good buy for a second round Gambit side.
It is a pretty good buy considering you put it out in the second round. It's not ideal from a personal perspective, but when you look at the CT weapons that are available, the MP9s and the Scout, you can definitely out firepower those with your AKs. I'm just not quite convinced that picking up things like the Galils and the Scout over perhaps pistoling players with more utility is the right decision here. Instead, they're going to have to rely on gunfights to win this particular round for them. And to be honest with you, with the firepower advantage, it's not an impossible scenario.
Oxygen up close. If he gets an opportunity, he will certainly try and strike blood first, but Duplicate up towards the top of this grey train up close. Needs to just be careful at the time because two angles he's very vulnerable from. The upper heavens and the lower ramp on Molotov is certainly available just to chuck down in either of these choke points. And Vespelen now joining them. 3 players defensively now look to hold on to the site. It's 45 seconds and there's minimal utility left. 2 flashes, but Shiro, that's a great opening.
A second follow-up as well. Supra gets the second, and Spellen, he can only hold for 1 on B. Gambit youngsters have control of the site. And SKADE, they have to save here, realistically speaking, 4 to find with the limited weaponry they have available. It's really unfortunate, but they lose the second round. It falls to the wayside. Oxygen on the close angle might be able to get 1 with the MP9 here. That's an upgrade onto an AK. Should he take the steps forward to pick it up, but it's a great one from the Gambit youngsters to convert this force.
Lucky for them. They were looking to keep hold of the AKs, and Nathany just ensures Oxygen can't keep too much going into that third round. Rainmaker, the last survivor. And for the youngsters, as you said, a great force fight, a great result. They've now got at least a tied scoreline and more or less might have an advantage against what's going to be a SKADE eco.
Yeah, they just have nothing on Dennis Law and Oxygen at all. In fact, they have so little that they just decide to completely empty the bank, invest into the pistols and armor, and just try and support that one M4 in the hands of Rainwaker. They're going to have to take a hard eco in the next regardless, so they just drag whatever they can forward into this particular round. No AWP available on the T side, not out of the woods yet, certainly, but the advantage firmly in the youngsters' favor.
Well, Spellan scoped in. Just keeps that back eye control covered along with Dennis Law up close. Oxygen, meanwhile, the sole playing Hot Dog up close. Shiro gets the opening and there's no trade potential. The lineup could have been there, but for Shiro, it's at least 2 kills. Youngsters, they get a quick advantage, and SKADE for now haven't responded.
They haven't been able to whatsoever. Looking to do so with Rainwaker, but that's the M4 that goes down now. All left on Duplicate and Oxygen, and as the Deagle goes down, the CZ would have 5 players to find with just 24 bullets available in the entire weapon. And he won't get anything. Axel running, jumping, whatever button you want to hit, it doesn't matter. He lands that headshot. The youngsters pick up the second, and this is a promising start. If they wanted to take this series in 2 maps, this would be how you start it.
What great entries also by Shiro, just to ensure that the A site was an option to take the bomb towards. It wasn't really the selling point of the round, but for the youngsters, they at least force SKADE onto this full eco now, fully pistols from their point of view. And youngsters again look towards a relatively stable default. 2 and Ivy, 2 up close, and for Oxygen, maybe some eco frags might be available, but it's the opposing side who clean up. Inters with 3, Axel and Supra with 1 apiece.
Yeah, the T-Con rush just not working out for SKADE, as they look ahead to the full buy in this round. Even if they did go for that full buy here, which they are going to have to do, they're not going to have the most grenades available to themselves. That is simply a fact. Take a look at this utility. Just a few flashes and smokes is all they can work with. Nothing at all on Rainwaker. He gets the kit instead, the only one for the CT side. Meanwhile, the Gambit youngsters' economy is in a great spot for round 5.
So up close. That was deadly. That was risky, and I don't know why you do that. You're just giving Spellen an AWP, but luckily for the youngsters, they at least keep some control of it. Axel, I'm amazed he comes off better to get both of them. So a very quick advantage, very risky play. Unfortunately for the youngsters, it hasn't quite costed them. Axel, another kill, which leaves Dennis Floor in this lonesome position in Sandwich on aim.
Speed has been a key element of the Gambit youngsters' strategy so far on Train, trying to use shock and awe tactics to overwhelm SKADE, and so far it's working. The initial play from Shiro actually fails, but it causes so much confusion that once the flashes come through, the refrags are certainly available, and you can see the Gambit youngsters taking no chances here at all. They use the full 30 seconds to clear out that B bomb site and just position themselves in a way that they have the best chance at hunting Dennis Law down. He has no say in this round whatsoever, and just the pure pace from the Gambit youngsters wrestling another round in their favor.
Almost suspecting this sole player left, Dennis Law. If he's lucky, he might find something at the close of the round. The AWP is tagged. And the AWP is one of those two players pushing down towards the back of the trains and now towards Ivy. It's going to be 4 for the youngsters who have made a nice promising start on what was a map we didn't know what to expect out of them.
You're absolutely right. We had no idea what to expect at all. Certainly didn't expect a strong start like this on the T side of Train, no less, because the SKADE economy, it's just pure wreck. They didn't have the most grenades to work with in that last round, but still, now they have absolutely nothing in this one. Spellan on the scout. There aren't going to be any more M4s in sight other than Dennis Laws, and Gambit are dominating the opening stages of this map.
Wasn't what we expected. A recent loss, the youngsters against Na'Vi recently on this map. But if they pull off this unthinkable win against SKADE, it's still early days, don't forget, in this, but a win at this point, it's quite a concerning idea for SKADE. So in this round, not really taking too much risks in terms of the economy. That's Super finding duplicate, and Speller not quite ready to trade that one out yet.
Just not in the right position. Rainwaker to fall now as well. Straight to the fire by the looks of things there of Axel's Molotov. Stays around too long, overstays his welcome, and Axel... They're just toying with oxygen at this point. Throwing weapons down at him. They want him to come up the ladder so they can dispatch him from the round. Instead, it's Spellan to find Inters. Supra tries to steady the ship at least. He takes oxygen down, but the M4 and the Scout are still alive. This round is still a dangerous one from SKADE.
Yeah, and they've read this quite well. In fact, Gambit youngsters try and work towards a B site, and they at least get the entry, and that might have been the concerning one. The Scout does little, and the M4 towards Oil just gets checked and cleared so convincingly to give the youngsters a 5th with no real concern. And an extra bomb plant, while that wasn't required, look at their money. They're looking quite strong and certainly in control. But this is where the real challenge now comes in as SKADE finally get 2 AWPs and finally get a full buyout.
The deadly double AWP strategy. It's made its way on to Train. SKADE have it to hand. Spellan and Denislaw with the expensive snipers to try and deny Gambit youngsters what has started off as a dominant T side. That much is for sure. Oh, Shiro! What on earth? Lightning fast reactions from him. Nafany has gone straight in and capitalized as well. He's in the back lines. He spotted a player out, but he's going straight to B. Gambit youngsters, what is this T side?
They're pushing towards B, and all of a sudden Spellan was about to become overwhelmed by so many angles. Inters is the man to come off better in that encounter, and SKADE, I think, just have to save already. They lose the B site so unexpectedly with that individual rush really down CT spawn, more or less denting it.
That is brutal. What a brutal round to fall apart too once again. It's the pace from the Gambit youngsters, not just the incredibly quick flick from Shiro, but the incredibly quick push from Axel off the back of it straight into the B bomb site. Just beautiful play right now. And the 3-man saves call from SKADE, they have to do it. And to be honest with you, Gambit, they want to be going and hunting this because they can severely punish the economy.
This quite an unexpected start. SKADE, a team with lots of history on train, especially in the past few months where they've looked quite good. They've picked up quite a few wins. Most recently against Unicorns of Love. Now you look towards a 5-round deficit. Even a double AWP setup doesn't quite comprehend how SKADE can approach this map, so I'll try for the single AWP instead. M4's elsewhere, and Gambit youngsters have an awful lot of money to really fall back on if they need to.
Just such a big bank. They're going to be buying for days to come. Regardless of whether they win or lose these rounds, they want to contact B play this time. You can see Shiro. He wants to be so aggressive with the AWP. He wants to be the first person through that smoke. His teammates are already out in heaven. Spellan's found one, but Axel is able to trade. The rotating SKADE players make their way in, but Nafany, quiet as anything, is creeping his way onto the A site instead for the fast flanks.
Well, some damage was done, but that wasn't quite enough to deny this bomb plant. The nade could be good. Oxygen just tagged down so low in connector, and in fact should be dead if Nafany actually goes to the people at Shiro from behind with one more. Nafany at least striking down from connector, and he knows that Oxygen is up close. The powerful play on site, in fact, allows one more kill back, so a 2-on-2 becomes so quickly a 2-on-1, and he's sticking it. He doesn't realize that they are going for it, and I didn't even realize that they just closed it out.
The skin of their teeth, the youngsters keep it going. It looks like the stick is the right call. Shiro on the AWP is going to be too slow to move in and stop it. But wow, the HE is there. And this is a real statement from the youngsters. We certainly didn't expect them to start so strongly on train. And look at SKADE's money once again. Spallan's got an AWP, but the rest of SKADE is struggling.
Yeah, Dennis Law's got a scout to maybe support that, so gonna look towards scoped weapons, which completely liable or viable on this map site. It's a long-range map, so many deep angles which you can use, and for Dennis Law, a kill onto Nafany would be an advantage towards Ivy. Now, the youngster player doesn't need to peek. This heavy Russian squad looking unstoppable, and for now, that was at least a peak of Shiro's head spotted. But the opening kill, I feel, again, going to be huge. SKADE now have to strike and turn up.
Finally, it feels as though Shiro misses an AWP shot, and SKADE have all players left alive on the defense. The youngsters have slowed things right down in this round to try and prompt some CT aggression, perhaps, but it's not going to occur. Instead, they are going to have to focus their sights towards A and deal with the majority of the defenders that are lying in wait. 3 pistoling players to find as the Molotovs go through.
It certainly feels as though this slow approach could certainly help SKADE with it, but it's not quite the opening encounter they were looking for. Remember, SKADE's forced by more or less. It needs to be something. Nafany gets 2, in fact, that second. And that third, just unstoppable. And I know it's mainly ecos, but a lovely individual statement. Gambit youngsters up to 8. SKADE, I don't know what's happened to them.
Nafany acting like a surgeon in that last round, just taking the scalps. Clinical aim from him, finding Spellan as well. That's a mistake from the Bulgarian AWPer. Look at this aim, clinical indeed. Gambit youngsters 8-1 up, and SKADE finally take a timeout on this CT side. They're going to buy up, but they're looking ahead at round 10, and they haven't won anything since the pistol.
And that's the concerning thing, right? The past 8 rounds, Gambit have looked more or less unstoppable, and while we now have again 2 AWPs out for SKADE, I don't know if that's really going to be the correct answer. No matter what happens, they need one of these opening aim duels to be won and to be gained in their favor, because Gambit youngsters, when they get that opening, SKADE just looks shaky and they can't even react quick enough to even find some sort of trade, and that really is an issue for them.
Yeah, the issue for SKADE, just these double AWPs aren't as quick as Shiro. That's the primary problem. Every time that he seemingly peeks into them, it's his flick that's faster, and Gambit youngsters then have the advantage in the round. 8-1. Limited utility for the CT side, and Duplicate is considering some back B aggression. Spellan's found the first kill on the close angle. He could get another one to Shiro here, who just crouches into his crosshairs, and SKADE haven't had a better opportunity to pick up their second round than this one.
Well, Nafany does trade out down towards Ivy. Duplicate finds something else, and finally SKADE at least have some control, and it's awkward for Inters and Nafany because they're more or less split up. One's in main, the other's down deep in Ivy, but that flash is huge, but it's not Nafany's win. Finally, SKADE have hope, and they have an answer to what Gambit youngsters can provide on their offense. Lots of money still available, so that's not a concern. SKADE now, they need to build up some rounds and momentum. 8-7, it's not impossible, but feels highly unlikely.
Not impossible, but the important thing for SKADE, not only that they recover both AWPs from the last round, but they survive it with 4 players left alive. They're going to start to build themselves some kind of a cash stockpile up to go against the Gambit youngsters, who are just flush with cash at this point. Inters, his aggression punished by Spellan's AWP. In turn, Supra looks to punish in reply. It's Nafany who has to get it done in the end, though. Axel will assist him, but the rest of this T side seems to have fallen apart. It's too messy. The fast pace finally starting to be shut down by SKADE.
23 HP and a lot of hope. If Axel wants to find a victory, just avoids the nade narrowly. Down to 11, and it's just a massive task to really survive this. Maybe an AWP could fall, but Spellan doesn't quite take the health way to fall and lose. And a nice idea, but not quite enough to take out Duplicate. So they've got through. Gambit, I think they'll go for a pause just to calm things down.
Yeah, they want the momentum reset here. It's the most rounds they've lost in a row, and it's just 2, so why not take the timeout at this stage of the first half? Reset that SKADE momentum a little bit, just stop them from getting amped up, and give yourselves the opportunity to discuss your options for the round ahead. I mean, it's been such a strong T-side start already that everything else they gain at this point is just a bonus. But if they can get something like 9-10 rounds on the board at least, they're in a great spot here to close this out 2-0.
The other concept also is Gambit youngsters, a team who they're ranked higher in terms of the HLTV rankings, but also you consider how they are the more experienced and the team with a longer chemistry together. That's their advantage. Now, moving forward, they'd have to really fight back something else, and this aggression combined with that smoke could be ideal. A flash out Oxygen, he in fact gets 2 of them.
How has he managed that? The second headshot, absolutely beautiful, and now the youngsters are struggling to find ways into the bomb site. Shiro gets 1 on the fadeaway, which makes the T job, or the CT job even, a lot harder, but still, the Gambit youngsters on the attack. They want to make their way into this B side. Duplicate's here actively to defend it, and he's just got to buy time for his teammates at this point. The bomb isn't even here, but Supra's found an opening kill. Shiro, he's on the mental flank all the way over to A.
And Shiro's got the bomb also, so the bomb, what I thought was going to be heading towards B, is actually going to be planted on A. This is huge. From the youngsters' point of view, Supra's got another kill, so a 2-on-2 means this is so winnable. From the Russian point of view, Supra is looking for just any more damage, just to try and ease the pressure on what is now an AWPing teammate. Spellan, well, they trade out 1 for 1. It leaves Spellan, Bulgarian, against Shiro, Russian, with an AWP of his own. And look at this, the sound cues are there. The AWP and the no-scope converts for the youngsters. Finally a win. Finally a stop to potential SKADE aggression and momentum.
We spoke about it at the start of this map, Louis. If Shiro can turn up like he did on Mirage, then the youngsters have a chance. Oxygen starts it off beautifully, but Shiro finishes that round off. They secure 9. They look now for double digits in the first half. And with a victory in this round, they could once again shatter SKADE's economy.
Oh, SKADE. At least back out on 2 AWPs between Spellen and Enislaw. But even when they found opening kills, even when they've had some advantage, it's never gone their way. Shiro, he is again stepping up when required most on this map. A perfectly timed opening means a bit more pressure now goes onto the A defense. Anthony now peeks up, player on site. Duplicate was at least red, but a one-on-one trade leaves Axel at least with some advantage and also some control down towards the back of Ivy.
Indeed, with the AWP still alive and kicking for both sides. It could go either way, but the youngsters secure the man advantage. Spellen facing Axel, whiffs his opening shot. They're going to re-peek into him, but somehow he's still alive. He's now the last left on his side. And he's going to bail out over towards the B side. He knows he has to save this AWP. But he wants to commit as well. A man torn. He wants to find it, but there's just no opportunity. Surely he doesn't throw this one away. He has to take the AWP back to B. And the youngsters will get 10.
Oh, he wants to keep the AWP. That's even if the youngsters even let him. They're pushing for this kill. Shiro will at least be the first point of contact. And that fake almost worked out. Spellen is up close, scoped in. And towards CT, he is at least a winner for one of them. For no kit. Means the round is surely and mostly confirmed. And Axel, that's brave to commit towards that. That should have been his death, in fact. Spellen could get something else, but either way, despite the youngsters slowly losing players left, right, and centre, it's not going to be a SKADE round.
Well, it was never going to be a SKADE round, but it's not even going to be a SKADE AWP at the end of that one. Eventually, the youngsters hunt him down, and we head into the penultimate of the half. SKADE, they have to save realistically. They want a full buy for the last in the half, and that's going to leave them with just pistols in this one.
This is the thing, right? If SKADE lose here, that could be at most an 11-4 half for their opponents. And you look towards what could be the T side, maybe with a new light. And the issue is for Gambit youngsters, the T side's their worst side. Nafany even allowed that opening, just combined with Oxygen's death, means it's a quick 2-0 start. It was all across the board, and SKADE, even on eco pistols, can't achieve too much.
They just crumble again. Duplicate left alone on the Deagle. He's only had 3 kills so far in this whole map, and he'd need 5 in this round to save his side. Flames at his feet and bullets in his brain. It's all over in this one. SKADE with one more chance at picking up a CT round of Train. They're going to have the guns available, but how likely are they to contest this one against the youngsters? They've looked so strong so far. And if Axel or Shiro just entries one more time onto the site, it's yet another round to them, surely.
It just feels like game over as soon as Supra or Shiro get that advantage and opportunity just to strike blood first. And Shiro will be the man to really look to go out first. Inters, for now, at least allowed so much side control so quickly, and they find the kills too quickly. 2 found, and maybe a third if they demolish the player hiding in Denislaw.
Well, they keep looking for them, but there's just 2 left for SKADE to try and salvage this half. Molotovs, not successful whatsoever. Duplicate and Spellen, M4 and AWP up against the 4 of the Gambit youngsters to try and pull off this retake. Surely an impossible task. Duplicate in ladder room looking for the first, but Shiro's Deagle punishes him, and Axel, he'll finish it off onto Spellen. 12-3 from the Gambit youngsters. A scoreline I don't think anyone was expecting.
No, SKADE, a disappointing performance. If we thought the T side of Mirage was unfortunate, this CT side of Train isn't going to plan, and the only advantage for them is this isn't their map. And I think you look, oh sorry, this is SKADE's map, my mistake.
Yeah. And
where do you go from here? You're 12-3 down, entering now the T side of things. You're 1 map down also, and SKADE now have to perfect pistol if they want a chance to even consider Dust 2.
This has certainly been a shock so far, especially when you consider that SKADE were the team who beat Gambit youngsters earlier on and dropped them down into the lower bracket of Group B. Since then, we've seen a different side, and at 12-3, SKADE, they require the pistol round. It's just an absolute fact, because if the Gambit youngsters can pick up the pistol and convert the following two as you'd expect them to, then they're already on map point.
I'm looking towards the loot bet odds, and I don't think you'd be surprised if I said they're not favouring SKADE by any means whatsoever. This will be a big, big turn up if SKADE can somehow pull off something to stay in this series nonetheless. It started so close, it started so good, but as soon as Mirage kind of crept away from the Bulgarian side, then that's where this heavy Russian core have certainly stepped up and more or less dominated their opponents.
That's the thing about this series, is in the opening half of Mirage, as you've just mentioned, it looked like it could go either way. When you were looking at the pre-match stats, you were thinking if SKADE can pick up Mirage, they can pick up the 2-0 in this series. You were thinking it's the Gambit youngsters, actually, who would have been struggling to claim victory in this one based on their form so far today, but they've really come out swinging and proven that they want to go the distance here and make the playoffs. They need just 4 rounds in order to accomplish that, and that task would be made all the more easier with a victory in this pistol.
Oh, Nafany's got a bit of utility along with Sutra, who's got a kit, but that's not the advantage SKADE wanted. Nafany, in fact, gets both of them. They're pushing over. They just about clear inters. I thought that was a risky play, but the nade could do so much. Duplicate, in fact, falls to USP. It's unstoppable. Nafany gets 4, but Rainwalker isn't done yet.
Nafany, 4 kills in the opening pistol, and Rainwaker left to try and reply. He's got 2 to find with the USP. He's spamming. It's a possibility. Supra down to 25. No armor on the last remaining player. Make that 2 HP now. And this is much closer than it had any right to be. 1 bullet away from death. Rainwaker. He's now going to move his way up to heaven. He's clawed the advantage back just from spamming left click with that USP. And if they lose this round, the Gambit youngsters, Nafany is not going to be a happy chappy.
He's got a smoke, he's got a kit, so I'm not saying he has to go for the ninja, but it's an option, at least for the Estonian. The sound cues have been given up. He's not cleared heaven. He didn't have anything, and that window being broken gives him a better advantage. I don't think that was a concern near the end. Rainwaker at least clutches it. A massive impact means his side have 4.
Spams that USP and narrowly wins the must-win round for SKADE. Gambit, they have to make the right call here. It has to be the full eco, but check this out from Nafany. Under pressure. The grenade doesn't finish anyone off, but it tags them down so low. If he could finish Rainwaker there, that's the whole round. But instead, it's that last SKADE player who survives the Ivy push that swings it all in their favor. It is going to be the eco for the youngsters in this round. It's definitely the right call. Stack the A-bomb site, pull AKs away if you can, but focus on the next one.
Yeah, Nafany actually got a good bank out of that, so they'll definitely have an AWP as a possibility going into that next round. But a stack towards beam isn't what this Russian core are really looking to work with. Back SKADE, much more interested in this A site, and smoke in connector practically guarantees them a bomb plant. What damage can the youngsters do? That's really all they want out of this round now.
Just 2 kills, I think, is all they can realistically hope for. Anything more than that would be a bonus, but it looks like they're just stacking up at the back to deny any kills going the way of SKADE at this point. Finally, the aggression comes through. You can see they send Axel out first to probe for information and then have the 3 supporting pistols try and convert the kill. But with no one actively facing, SKADE, they're just going to get a freebie out of this one. They'll put 5 on the board. They'll start to build the foundations of their own economy, but they have an important gun round to win in the next.
I think the other advantage also is they keep so many players alive, including those 2 AKs, so it's a confident buy, which you'd expect SKADE to now bring out. Not too ambitious to upgrade the Mac 10s, which they have saved, but fair enough. buy some more utility and armor around it, and maybe get a couple of fast players pushing Ivy or down towards B ramp. The youngsters want to opt for M4s and lacking utility, which could be decisive if SKADE maybe even go for one of these fast plays.
You're absolutely right. It looks like they might just try that as well. Straight out onto the A bomb site is Rainwaker. Spellan has found the scout kill onto Shiro elsewhere. Opponent's AWP removed by an excellent headshot, and the youngsters on the CT side, they have to reply somehow. They're not able to do it. SKADE, they walk straight into A. Napoli finds one, can't get the second though. And GAMBIT, they fall by the wayside here. SKADE guaranteed 6 on the board.
Well, I'm not saying that SKADE are winning this quite yet, but a positive start and winning this gun round is certainly a great beginning for what could be a comeback. Super only a nade available if he wants to retake the A site, and it's not really an option. Better outcome is to keep the M4 and look to see what your teammates can force around it. But though they've been that sort of side who don't always commit towards force one, they look to just reset and balance the economy. SKADE, that side who seemingly force up, and Dennis Law as an upgrade. That's another bonus.
It is upgraded by Shiro. Spellan with that scout headshot, making it work and getting the economic value. The round found by SKADE. And the youngsters realistically have to take the eco in the next round. You've got to pad that money up and go for the full buy when you have the nades. That's the important thing. You can't be tempted on train to go for these semi-buys with the pistols. It's just not going to be effective. You need to have enough cash, not just for your rifles. You need a smoke and at least 2 flashes. The Molotovs can really make the difference. The full set can be so important that it's worth taking the eco here. They do so. They drop down onto the pistols outside a super safe rifle and just see what they can get done.
Well, for now, nothing too vital coming in. Shiro flashed in and then, in fact, can come off better, but it's a one-on-one trade down towards Ivy. Axel, maybe the man who now supported by Nafmani, who maybe can get a kill or taking one of these rifles out of the equation, and some good damage at least towards the first player. 3 HP. That's Rainwaker, but Axel now left alone. It's awkward if the youngsters now want to get anything.
Oh, the opening rifle spray. If that can just convert a kill, it would have been beautiful, but unfortunately, it just tags down both the Ivy players low, and Nafani, he knows there's an opposing AWP waiting around here, but the unfortunate thing is he's the only one left alive for his team. They're going to peek around. Duplicate. Low gets removed, but Spellan has the presence of mind to just keep an eye on the close angle. And the ship's starting to steady now for SKADE. 7 rounds in total, just a 5-round gap. And if they can take this gun round, they're well on their way to tying up the scoreline.
Youngsters, just as a reminder, haven't picked up anything in this half so far, so they now struggle on the CT side. SKADE now certainly drawing a reason to stay in this, trying to keep this closer than ever. Again, another challenge with another full buyout for both sides. Shiro scoped in, and if he gets the opportunity, you know he's just going to try and strike blood and really cause a concern. Duplicate also up close waits and looks to send out a flash with his team.
Utility deployed towards the A-bomb site. Duplicate the first man out. Yet to find anything just yet. There's the wall of smokes. They give him room to advance, but his teammates start to fall. Rainwaker finds Shiro. He'll find Inters as well. And the third onto Nafani. Rainwaker does all the work. Axel eventually removed by him too. How on earth has one man found so much impact for SKADE? Supra doesn't even have the chance to rotate onto the A-bomb site. It's all on Rainwaker. He dismantles everything alone.
If Supra gets maybe 1 or 2 weapons picked up, it might be something, but SKADE's money now, that's building up. That's a concern for the youngsters' point of view, and that's 2 gun rounds now, which they've not found anything in. It has been SKADE certainly stepping up and certainly drawing the blood to really now give themselves an opportunity to look towards Dust to our 3rd map. And the more players that SKADE keeping alive, not only does that help them economically, but also mentally, Gambit youngsters just start to feel like they can't do much.
Yeah, especially after the way they lost that pistol round as well. That's the brutalizer, right? Nafany gets 4 kills and all but wins the entire thing for you. And then you basically choke it out at the end to someone who's just spamming away with the USP at the right angle. And ever since then, it's just been downhill on this CT side. Another eco for the youngsters to keep the full utility out in the next round. It is the right call from them. They need to keep finding the damage, though, because SKADE's economy is starting to look very strong.
Yeah, Supra just sends the smoke down at the right time. SKADE, while they weren't fully prepared to push at that moment, it means that if anything, SKADE now have an advantage and just have time to set up what's going to be a play towards B. The one will look to be the last point of entry, but now stepping in towards the limelight. Oxygen, in fact, comes off better, so the flash that Supra prepared becomes useless. Another smoke in, and unless the youngsters get something back now, these pistols, I don't know if they'll do anything.
It doesn't look likely. Rainwaker's found another one in this round. The rest of Gambit youngsters have to go and save the armor that they have available. Any kind of economic advantage is useful, and SKADE, they're on a tear so far on their own T side. After securing the pistol, they've gone from strength to strength and have won so many rounds with so many players alive that their bank is in a beautiful spot indeed. They now are just 3 rounds away from tying up the scoreline with the Gambit youngsters. There's another full buy to come in the next round, but if these Russian players don't start winning train rounds soon, it would be a nightmarish situation for them to choke it out and head to Dust 2.
That'll be the concern for them. If they struggle to maybe pick up 1 or 2 more rounds, then Dust 2 for SKADE, that's going to be a mental advantage also, not just a winning advantage coming out of train. And it's a complete turnaround to what we saw in that first half. Still nothing found by the youngsters in this second half. That's all 7 rounds so far, at least going towards SKADE. Or at least the 6 so far this half. 0 for now, just awkward. I don't know who was looking to go up, but that's not the start that they were looking for.
It's a poor sign for the Gambit youngsters as well. It could indicate confusion on the roster, a little bit of panic occurring, perhaps. It's the fake sold towards A. It's drawn rotations in, all but Supra, who still lies in wait for the ramp push. Here's them go in and finds the first kill. That's promising. If he can get another, it'll be beautiful. Shiro misses the shot instead. Supra still alive, converts onto Dennis Law. It's Shiro's AWP instead that gets that work done, but Duplicate's position given away. He's going to peek out with the Molotov, try to find Shiro at least, and he just has to stay alive for the rest of his team, convert the shot, and that activates the 4-on-2 retake.
Shiro's still alive, so there was certainly a possibility, but Spellen, as soon as I say that, takes him out. Trade kills, and Oxygen Orton has to do so much more work, but it's not enough. Axel cleans up, and finally for the youngsters, they get something in the second half. It felt like it's taken them too long, but now still on 13. That first half round buff has been a massive advantage for them.
It certainly has. They are enjoying this fact. They finally put a CT round on the board, but they have to string some together if they want chances at success here. SKADE, their bank is still beautiful, and they can still contest this gun round.
That's the only advantage that SKADE have got, but they need to keep building up some confidence really going forward. Now, Dennis Law sends the smoke out towards Sand, or sorry, Connector, in fact. Supra up close, well, went aggressive, plays a safe game, and his teammate, in fact, can get an opening for the youngsters now. A positive start.
Finally, perhaps the CTs are retaking control. Axel's AWP rings out for 1, but Dennis Law's replied. He's stuck in flames now, and Shiro will remove him from the round. 3-on-4, make that 2-on-4. As Shiro goes big again, and SKADE left guessing Rainwaker. We've heard his name so much in this second half. We will only hear it on his obituary in this round, though. Nafany removes him, and Duplicate locked in the 1v3. Doesn't have bomb control and dances around the box with Shiro, who is saved by Supra at the end. The youngsters, they've taken their opportunities. They've won the last 2 rounds. 2 more needed to close out the series. But SKADE's bank is still full and replenished.
And they've still got a couple more chances, really, if they want to keep forcing out. But the issue is they're running out of rounds. Gambit youngsters, now they're starting to hot up. Now they've got Shiro really striking up and doing the work. It's meant that for the youngsters, all of a sudden, they just seem to turn up. It's mainly this individual effort by Shiro, the Russian, who has done so well to keep his side in this and finally put them ahead. And for Supra, now taking damage down towards lower B. It could be a shaky start, but the lucky thing is he doesn't fall.
He's so close that he gets away there. Just has to sprint with his tail between his legs, but he's now made it out alive, and he's the second player on this B defense. Shiro wants just more than a shoulder, please. That's all he's asking for. There we are. Oxygen will fall. Molotov deployed towards the site as well. Can't give Supra any more room, unfortunately, and Shiro's flicks aren't looking the hottest either right now. Needs his teammates to come in and start to bail him out, but Rainwaker's found one. The no-scope from Shiro is good at least, before Rainwaker looks for more onto Axel. The secondary AWP removed. Again, it's seemingly Rainwaker to do all the work for the Bulgarians and put SKADE on double digits.
And what a vital time also for SKADE to turn up, just to not only deny serious point for their opponents, but also keep their money just about at bay, because a loss here really would have affected Spellen or Rainwaker, just to name a few. But a massive point to turn up, a massive way to maybe keep 3 players alive. And while they're hunting to maybe get Inters out of play also, the Russian, I don't think, will be threatened. But bomb plant, a 10th round for SKADE. Scarily, only 4 rounds between them and the youngsters.
That's very scary indeed, especially when you take a look at the youngsters' economy and read that they've decided to go for the Force. That's going to mean that their bank pretty empty in the next round. And if SKADE, well, that should be, if they lose, their bank will be pretty empty in the next round. And SKADE, that'll be the comeback opportunity, very well defined for them. The utility is there at least for the CTs, but this is the definition of a must-win.
Axel looks to prepare the Molotov. It's nothing fast or nothing creative from SKADE so far, but they're defaulting and they want to just play the slow. One mistake from the youngsters could certainly open up either side, but this is going to be huge from Supra. Just timing means he's missed the 2 players in Pop Dog, or the 2 players have missed him, and he's even got time to really push in. Oxygen gone, and that's a man advantage going their way, and Duplicate just can't trade out Inters. You're so lucky to be alive.
The miracle kill comes through. Supra, oh, Spellan whiffs the shot. That leaves it on Rainwaker and Duplicate now in the 2-on-4. They need to stabilize. Duplicate's found one, but Shiro's found his teammate. 1-on-3 situation for the Bulgarian rifler. Looks to the high ground and finds Nafany, who's up there, but on 22. He's just about 1 bullet away from death. Inters will find it. Pick up series point for the Gambit youngsters, and the pressure on SKADE is now in overdrive.
They need 5, not only to win this map, but just to get overtime. And that might not even give them enough to push them over the edge, to push them towards Dust 2. So this round coming up, at least they've got money and they've got an open AKs to work with. But for the youngsters, off the back of this confidence that they've now got SKADE, they have to have a mental freshen up. They've got to be so focused now. Fast play could certainly help them. Rainwaker, if he doesn't step up now, it could be game over for SKADE and their chances.
He's been the man in the last few rounds for SKADE, and he's found the opener in this one. Inters down early. The rest of SKADE locking B into their site. Supra, he's the man charged with defending as well. Rainwaker falls on the A site, but the only Guardian of B goes down. Duplicate on just 2 HP, but nonetheless stays alive. And the Molotov towards Connector really delaying this youngster's retake. It should be the save call here, realistically. They're going to get these AWPs out, but the MP9, the heroic play from Nafany, does it save it all? Duplicate on just 2 HP. It's a very winnable engagement from Nafany if he can guess the angle, and realistically, it's Denislaw who has to save this.
Denislaw, yeah. Has to do so much more work. The York's going to look up, and that should be Duplicate dead, and it is. They need to just clear this. Denislaw, time against him. And as Shiro strikes blood, it's going to be the youngsters 16-10 winners. SKADE take it out. And for the youngsters, a 2-0 clean sweep.
Yeah, indeed, the clean sweep from them, and it's certainly not the result we were expecting, especially after that first half of Mirage. It was looking like it could have gone either way, perhaps even that SKADE would have taken that first map, but in the end, it is the Gambit youngsters who take the series 2-0 on SKADE's map pick, no less. They just looked incredibly strong today.
No, and the concerning thing also for them was this is one of Gambit Youngsters' supposedly worst maps. It's a map they've not looked too strong on in the past few months, and to produce a performance, a 12-3 scoreline on the T side in the first half was completely insane, and that's going to be them at least progressing and joining fours in the playoffs going forward now, and commiserations to SKADE, but what a comeback that almost turned out to be.
Valiantly fought from them at the end of the day, but unfortunately SKADE just not able to bring it over the line in these best of 3 series. They beat Gambit youngsters earlier on, as you just saw, but eventually the Russian squad was able to get revenge, and now it's them who find themselves in the playoffs instead of their Bulgarian counterparts. It's been an impressive day of Counter-Strike on show, and with Group C ready tomorrow, do you have any closing thoughts from today's broadcast, Louis?
Just really amazing of a feat for Gambit Youngsters to really come off better. 2 great teams, Fours and Gambit Youngsters, making it through at least to the playoffs. The playoffs are hotting up now. It's going to be so huge no matter what happens. Namiga, Fate, Apex, and Alternate Attacks now have the opportunity tomorrow to see who can push on and to see who can fight for part of this cash prize.
Yeah, it's certainly a strong group available in both C and D. So there is going to be plenty more intense Counter-Strike action to come, at least in this first Malta Vibes Cup, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want to keep track of it, you should follow this Twitch channel and be here tomorrow, where we'll be bringing you those Group C games bright and early. Hopefully, we'll see you there.